Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar introducing our new series of Food Waste Prevention Digests. Thank you for your time this afternoon. My name is Helen Hawley and I will be hosting this session, which will last up to an hour. The webinar is being recorded and will be available on the WRAP website shortly to share with your colleagues. We will send you a link to this after the session with any follow-up materials. To help the webinar run smoothly and to minimise any background noise for other people on the line, we request that you mute your microphone and turn the camera off on your computer. You can ask any questions through the Q&A box on the right-hand side. And we will aim to answer as many of these as possible at the end of the presentation. To make the slides clearer, you can maximise them on your laptop by using the double-ended arrow at the top of the screen. Our speaker today is Sue Riley from WRAP. Sue's main focus is in consumer food waste prevention. Coming from a food industry background, she's worked in product, process and packaging development, plus technical and quality roles in food manufacturing, and was general manager of an advisory service business before joining WRAP. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see an overview of this webinar. In the next hour, we will give you some background about our decision to publish these digests and give you an overview of the document format, including how to navigate it and get the best out of it. Plus, as mentioned previously, there'll be an opportunity for questions and answers at the end. I will now hand over to Sue, who will kick off with our objectives for this session and some background information.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to Helen for the introduction. Firstly, I just wanted to let you know that this presentation won't take up the full 45 minutes. So in terms of our objectives for this session, essentially we wanted to take the opportunity to explain to you why we have decided to publish this series of food waste prevention digests, and to make sure you know where to find them, give you a quick run through of what they look like and what content they have in them, plus also show you how to navigate them and make the best use of them. Phase 3 of the Courtauld Commitment will be coming to an end in December 2015, and of course our primary objective is achieving our targets, although we do recognise that we have limited time now and that some actions that can be taken are longer term. So we also wanted to use these digests as a way of helping you to gear up for Courtauld 2025, which is the next voluntary agreement, and if possible, help you and your business to reap some of the benefits, which can be both financial and environmental, sooner rather than later. There is a link at the bottom of this slide for more information on the Courtauld Commitment and Courtauld 2025, although I will just briefly mention them in the next few slides. So I'm sure most of you will know a little bit about WRAP, and these are our recently updated vision and mission statements. So WRAP's vision is a world in which resources are used sustainably, and our mission is to accelerate the move to a sustainable, resource-efficient economy through reinventing how we design, produce and sell products, rethinking how we use and consume products, and redefining what is possible through reuse and recycling. And you will see how this is being picked up in our new voluntary agreement, Courtauld 2025. So just a very brief recap of the Courtauld Commitment 3 and its targets. The Courtauld Commitment is a responsibility deal to improve resource efficiency and reduce the carbon impact of the UK grocery retail sector. WRAP is responsible for the agreement, which has 3 targets, and these are packaging optimisation, supply chain waste prevention, and household food waste prevention. And we work in partnership with leading retailers, brand owners, manufacturers and suppliers who have signed up to support the delivery of these targets. The impact of the Courtauld Commitment 3 is predicted to be a cumulative reduction of 1.1 million tonnes of waste, 2.9 million tonnes of carbon dioxide equivalents, and a cost benefit of 1.6 billion to consumers, the food and drink sector and local authorities. As I mentioned, Courtauld 2025 is the next voluntary agreement that we are currently working on, and there are a number of differences between this and the current Courtauld Commitment. These are that the scope has expanded and it's not just about waste prevention. Carbon dioxide emissions and water are now included. There will be a whole chain approach that focuses on the UK but considers supply chain impacts outside of the UK. It will be a 10-year agreement, however there will be interim intermediate milestones and annual reporting. And also to allow organisations that haven't been able to previously sign up to the Courtauld Commitment, there will be different types of partners. So for example, delivery partners like the current signatories, but also engagement and development partners. And this will allow organisations, for example trade associations, to support the agreement in a more formal way. So the agreement will be centred around 4 themes. So starting at the top left of the slide, it will be about providing lower impact products, so embedding new criteria into design, buying and sourcing. And then providing products more efficiency, so about optimising the whole supply chain and producing more with less. Helping people to get more value from the food and drink that they buy, influencing consumption behaviours and reducing waste. So this is essentially our Love Food, Hate Waste campaign, but also moving forward and looking at healthy and sustainable diets. And then last but not least, we recognise that there will be some waste, so it's about getting more value from waste and surplus food and drink, so finding innovative ways to make the best use of waste and surpluses. So why is food waste prevention so important? And it is simply because it reduces the unnecessary waste of energy and natural resources which are used in production, storage and distribution of food. It's also top of the food waste hierarchy, and companies have a duty of care to minimise waste in accordance with the waste hierarchy, which is enshrined in the EU Waste Framework Directive and the UK waste regulations. So taking action on food waste prevention will help you to comply with this legal requirement. So how much do you know about food waste in the UK? Our research shows that every year in the UK we throw away an estimated 15 million tonnes of food. And that 15 million tonnes would fill 120 million rubbish trucks, which if they were put bumper to bumper would reach from London to Singapore. This slide shows the breakdown of that 15 million tonnes, and as you can see that at 7 million tonnes household food waste is actually the single largest contributor. And this food waste from our homes would fill the Wembley Stadium to the brim 9 times over. So you can also see that there is a significant contribution from manufacturing at 3.9 million tonnes. Another question is whether consumers are actually bothered about food waste, so I'm pleased to say that they are. And this slide is taken from the FSA Biannual Public Attitudes Tracker Report, which is available on the food.gov.uk website. These results are from May 2015, and this shows that when people were asked about concerns over wider food issues, food waste actually came out at number 2, and it is usually in the top 4 of this survey. And this time round, it even ranked above the price of food, which is normally number 1. So research shows that consumers are not only concerned about wasting food, but they also expect and want the industry to help them reduce food waste in their homes. So from a supply chain point of view, this slide shows the opportunity for action. Overall, there is 6.5 million tonnes of waste annually, and you can see the split of waste between retail and wholesale and manufacturer. Within this, the waste is split by food and drink and packaging, and also then by end destination. Bottom right, you will see the 3.9 million tonnes of food waste at the manufacturing stage that we mentioned earlier. So this report is available with all of these figures, and of course you will be able to access this through the digests. So just looking at things a bit differently and considering the environmental impact of food waste, from a global point of view, if global food waste was a country, it would be the world's 3rd largest carbon emitter, only after the USA and China, so 3 to 5% of the total global warming impacts, using 172 billion metres squared of water and utilising a land area equivalent to Mexico, and also costing 616 billion. So moving a bit closer to home, if the UK food waste was a country, it would emit 20 million tonnes of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions, be responsible to 4 to 5% of the total water footprint of the UK, utilise a land area equivalent to the size of Wales to reduce it, and would cost 19 billion. So just a couple of quick questions. What is the true value of waste that comes from food retailing and manufacturing businesses in the UK each year? Is it A, 6.7 million, B, 67 million, or C, 6.7 billion? And just as a hint, this isn't just about the cost of disposal. So the answer to that question is 6.7 billion. So hopefully you can see the opportunity that there is there. And then from an environmental point of view, preventing 1 tonne of food waste from ending up in landfill saves how much carbon dioxide? Is it A, 1 tonne, B, 3 tonnes, or C, 5 tonnes? So the answer to that is 5 tonnes. So just taking a closer look at the 7 million tonnes of household food waste, we split that down into 3 categories. Unavoidable, so for example banana skins, bones and eggshells. Possibly avoidable, so things like potato and apple peelings and crusts of bread. And then avoidable, which is food that was edible at some point before it was thrown away. So as you would expect, our main focus is on avoidable household food waste. So looking at avoidable household food waste, in terms of both weight and cost and the proportions from different categories, you will see from this slide which might be our priority categories. So for example, fresh produce, dairy, meat, fish and poultry, and also bakery. So the 4.2 million tonnes of avoidable household food waste is worth 12.5 billion on an annual basis. And looking at the reasons given, you will see that there are 2 main reasons. And these are not used in time, which is worth 5.6 billion, and cooked, prepared and served too much, worth 4.1 billion. So you won't be surprised to know that we focus our efforts on these 2 reasons for disposal. So we quite often talk about supply chain food waste prevention and consumer food waste prevention separately. And we're keen to pull these together and talk about all of the actions that you and your business can take to tackle food waste, all under one banner. So you will see that the digests address both supply chain and consumer food waste prevention. So just moving on to why we decided to publish these digests. We recognise that we have an awful lot of information which isn't necessarily that easy to find. So it might be difficult for people to find information that they need to make a start on tackling food waste, or when looking for ideas and inspiration as to what to do next. And this slide here shows just a few of the household food waste reports without even making a start on supply chain information. We do have resource listings that group the information together under useful headings and provide links, although you still have to decide what to read first, which isn't necessarily an easy decision. So we decided to try and find some ways of directing people towards the information that is most relevant for them, and also to give some hints about the type of action they can take. So we've now developed a series of digests, webinars and workshops. We recognise that everyone is different, so we're trying to cover all bases. Some people like to read, some people like to listen, some people prefer face-to-face discussion. And we also understand that people have limited time, so it's not always easy to attend a workshop. So the main purpose of these digests, webinars and workshops is to catalyse action by presenting information in a user-friendly way and also providing a forum for discussion and, most importantly, gaining commitment to action. So what are these digests all about? They're short, easy-to-read, interactive documents that are in PowerPoint format and available to download from the website. They contain pop-up boxes and click-throughs, and even links to specific pages of reports that might be most useful to you. And they should be available next week on the website. So as you can see here, there are 9 digests in the series. We've thought about different audiences, so for example, retailers, manufacturers, trade associations, and also about different product categories and how they might use information in different ways. We might want to encourage them to take different types of action as well, depending on the audience or the category. Or these different audiences could have specific priorities or needs for specific information. And we hope that the digests cater for these differences. There is also a packaging digest, as secondary packaging optimization has been identified as an area where action can still be taken, and this will be available on the same web page as the other digests. So where can you find these digests? Well, there is a web page which we will send you the link to once the digests are available, and you can also access the digests through the documents themselves, so other digests other than the one that you're on. And this is a link on the contents page that takes you to the digest website. So the next few slides will explain the format of the digests. They're short documents with 5 different sections, and those sections are why take action, what sort of action can you take, food waste prevention in action, and what are your next steps, and also other useful information on how to get involved. So what are your next steps is actually 2 slides, one for supply chain and one for consumer. And we've basically chosen these sections as we believe they lead you through the why, so the business case, what, how, and when, which obviously is as soon as possible, of food waste prevention. So a couple of points to note here. Bottom left, you can click onto the web page with the other digests on, and if you click on the boxes on the right, they take you to the relevant page, or you can just use the page down or down arrow to move sequentially to the next section. So here's an example of the Why Take Action page, and please note the instruction highlighted in red at the top. Each box has a pop-up box revealing more detail. And this is what the pop-up box looks like from the Why Take Action page. So note the click anywhere to close, which is highlighted by the red circle. So what sort of action can you take? This page lays out the sort of action that we would like to encourage you to take based on which audience or category you're in. So for example, product and packaging innovation, sourcing and buying, planning and promotions, food redistribution, supply chain collaboration, engaging your customers or colleagues, and also, most importantly, embedding change. So this slide also has pop-up boxes to reveal further information, like the previous page. And this is what a pop-up box on that page will look like. So this one here is actually talking about your workplace without waste materials, which of course you can access via the digests as well. So the next section is about food waste prevention in action and gives access to relevant case studies. This slide shows you examples of action taken with which people always seem to find useful, and clicking on the highlighted text in the copy will open up the case study itself. So if you clicked on that highlighted text in the copy, this is what it would look like. And if you want to, you're able to save or print the case study from here and read from at your leisure. So the next two are the next steps pages, one for supply chain and one for consumer. And this is an example of the supply chain page. So if you look top right, you can click through to the consumer page. The idea behind these pages is to take you to the information and guidance that will help you to either start to take action, or to give you ideas for further action. So please note as well, at the bottom of every page on the digest, there is a back to contents button, which will take you back to the contents page. So that's indicated by the blue arrow there in the bottom right. Bottom left, you will see that there's a link to our main supply chain web pages. Or on the right-hand side, this copy basically walks you through the information and tools and guidance that are available. So wherever you see an icon, so for example the magnifying glass highlighted in red, or highlighted text, so I've highlighted the waste process, you will find a link to further information. And where possible, we've provided links to specific pages in reports, taking you straight to the information that's most relevant to you. So this slide shows an example of a link to a specific page in the Household Food Waste Report that can be found in the Fresh Produce Digest, so taking you right to the results for fruit. And there's also another link taking you through to the results for fresh vegetables. So here's the consumer page. And again, there is a link bottom left to download our main industry-facing consumer food waste prevention document, Concept to Consumer. Remember to click on the icons for useful links. So if you clicked on this Love Food Hate Waste logo indicated by the arrow, this would take you to a Get Involved page on the Love Food Hate Waste website, which includes access to loads of useful information and materials that can help you to support Love Food Hate Waste. The link highlighted on the right takes you to a very useful set of slides explaining our recent product live work and setting out how we believe industry can take action. So this here shows up the Get Involved page, which has been opened up by clicking on the Love Food Hate Waste logo. And this here shows the link to the product live slides. And of course, we have a webinar on next week on the 6th of October, where we'll give you the details of at the end in terms of how to register for that. Plus, in terms of product live, we also have some guidance documents that will be published over the next few weeks and made available through the digests. So there is a page at the back of the digest, which you've already seen, and that allows you to click through to all of the other digests, either to the main page, which is top right, or to an individual digest by clicking on the relevant icon. So the arrow here shows the dairy icon. The final page of each digest offers links to useful information, and you will note there are a few coming soon entries there. It also provides some contact details if you have a quick question or need some clarification, and there's a link to a page showing you who our food sector specialists are, which includes myself, obviously. So one last point to make is that these digests are all intended to be live documents and to be updated on a regular basis. So you should be able to have the confidence that you're looking at what we consider to be the most up-to-date information. So you will be able to tell if you have the latest copy by checking the version number on the front cover. Please ignore that this shows a date at the moment, as it will be a version number on the published copies. So just a quick reminder of a couple of other useful documents. We've already mentioned this interactive PDF for consumer food waste prevention, which takes you through the actions that you and your business can take to make an impact and help prevent food waste in our homes. So there is a link to download it here on the slide, and obviously it's also accessible through all of the digests. So this just shows the contents page, and the idea of this document is also to help you to sell food waste prevention internally in terms of your business taking action. And it also contains useful checklists, for example, for MPD or range reviews in terms of identifying action, and also pack copy approval checklists in terms of following our labelling recommendations. Then we have our Signposting Tool, which is actually an output from our Courtauld 3 industry working group. The main objective of this group is about achieving the supply chain targets for the third phase of the Courtauld Commitment. And this is essentially an overarching digest, one difference being that it includes links to information and guidance from other organisations as well as WRAP. Plus it will be hosted on both the WRAP website and also those of other organisations. So again, this can be accessed through the back page of the digests. And this just shows how it's laid out in terms of taking action, why take action, plus further information. So that's the end of the presentation. I hope that you found it a useful tour of our new digest, plus a few other documents, and that you also understand and agree with our reasons for deciding to publish them. So I'll now just open up to a quick question and answer session, and thank you to those who have sent questions in. So we have just got one question here, which is who are the digests aimed at? So really, I suppose the answer to that is all job roles, really. We're trying to reach a wider audience, so not just the sustainability and environmental managers, but also technical and MPD, operations, category managers and marketing managers. So the aim is to make people realise that whatever their job role, that there is potential for them to make a difference in terms of food waste prevention. And then we have a question here about the product life guidance that I mentioned that's coming soon. And the question is, will they be available in the digest? Yes, they will. We will be updating the digest, as I said, on a regular basis to include any new information. Okay, so I think that's the end of the question and answer session. But before we go, I just wanted to give you a quick reminder about a few items that will be coming soon. So we have the Signposting Tool, which I mentioned. We have the Product Life Guidance, and then also the other webinars in the series. And as promised, you can request information or register for these using the workshop's email here. And I'm now just going to hand over to Helen to close the session.
Finally, just to say thank you for attending our webinar today, and we hope that you found it an interesting overview of our new digest series. As we said at the beginning of the session, the webinar has been recorded and will be published on the WRAP website. We'll send a link to this and the presentation slides following the presentation. Please share the webinar with any of your colleagues who you think may benefit from listening to it. If you have any further questions, we will get back to you individually, and you can email us at foodspecialist@wrap.org.uk. Thanks again. Goodbye.